Hey everyone, welcome back to How to Make Discord Bot series. In this video, we'll be going through how to make leveling system for a Discord bot. We'll be using SQLite, so make sure your Python version is above 2.5 for this. And you will also need this DB browser for SQLite. So make sure you download this. I'll leave the link in the description. If you're already familiar with SQL, then this is going to be pretty easy for you. If not, I'll leave some reference links to learn SQL, so make sure to check that out. So to get started, we'll import our SQLite package. So we'll do import SQLite 3. Next, we have to create the database and connect to the database. So to create and connect, we'll use the same line of code. So connect SQL dot connect. Here we'll name our database as level dot db. So this line connects to the database if it already exists. If not, it creates the database. Next, we need cursor from our connection. So we'll create a new variable cur connection dot cursor. So now we have the database and a cursor for that database. So this is what I've planned for my database. I'll have a init command to initialize the server and add all the members from the server to the table. Then I'll use onMessage event to increment their experience as they send message, and once they hit 100 experience, the level is incremented by 1 and the experience goes back to 0 again. So here let's create our initialize command at client dot command saying def. So init will be my command name and ctx being the default parameter. Now here we have to create a table for the database. So to create a table, we'll use a cursor. So cursor dot execute, and inside this we can execute our regular SQL queries. So to create table, we'll need 3 inverted commas here, and I'll also need F to format. So we will create a table with create table if not exists. So this creates the table if it does not exist. Then we will name our database with guild underscore the guild ID, because the the table name can't start with a number. So we'll do guild underscore ctx dot guild dot id. So this creates a table. Next, we need columns inside our table. So to create columns, open the round brackets. Now I need 3 columns. One is the user ID, and this is the name of my column, and next will be the data type. So int is my data type and the condition. So this can't be null, so I'll add not null. Next is my xp. So exp, data type is integer, and this I want to be 0 by default, so I'll add default value 0. Next, I can copy the same thing and change this to level. So in this line, we run our SQL query to create a table, and we make 3 columns: user ID, the exp, and the level. default value is 0 for exp and level. So whenever you insert a new row to this table, by default the value is 0. So once we create the table, let's add the members. So for that we'll use for x in context guild dot members, and if the member is not a bot, so x dot bot not equal to true. If the member is not a bot, then we add the user ID to the table. So for that we'll use the cursor element again. So cursor dot execute, and we insert the data. So I'll do insert into guild underscore x dot guild dot id, and we have to mention the column that we are inserting the value to. So user id, next the values. Now the values that I'm going to insert is the member id, so x dot id. Once we add all the members, we have to save the changes. So for that we use connection dot commit, and when we are done with this, we'll send a message in the server leveling system initialized. Now let me run the bot. So here it created the database. We've logged in, so let me send dot init leveling system initialize. We hit back and we have the table here. We browse data, so we have the user ID and the experience and level is 0. So now what we have to do is whenever the user sends a message, we have to increment the experience. So let's go back to our code, let's close this, and let's create an event. At client dot event sync def message. So on message takes one parameter. I'll name it message. Now if the message dot author dot bot, so we're checking if the message was sent by a bot. If it is not a bot, then we'll have to add a try and execute block, because sometimes we get an error here. So try current cursor dot execute. Now we select the user from the guild and we have to increment the experience. So for that, here we'll select star from guild So we can get the guild ID from message dot guild dot id. By the way, here star means we're selecting all the columns from the table. Now we can add a condition, so where user ID is equal to the message author ID. So we can do message dot author dot id. So here we select the message, we select the user from the table from the message ID. Next we have to save the result in a variable, so I'll create a variable called result equal to cursor dot fetch 1. Next we check if the experience that we get is equal to 99, because if the experience is 99, then we have to increment the level and make the experience equal to back to 0. So result, when we execute this line, we get 3 columns in return. So the user ID, the experience, and the level. So this will be 0, 1, and 2. So I have to check my experience. So it should be result 1, index 1, 99. If it is 99, then we send a message in the server. So await message dot channel dot send, and we do let's mention the author. So message dot author dot mention advanced to level result of 2 plus 1. Since our level is in column 0, column 2, so this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. So we send has advanced to the next level. And also we have to update the table. So let's do cursor dot execute. So to update, we use the update query. So update guild underscore message dot guild dot id, and we have to set experience to 0 and increment the level. So to update it, we use set exp, the column name. Exp is the column name. Have to update it to 0, and next is my level. So for level, I have to update it to the next level. So I'll take the previous result. This is my previous level plus 1. So that should update the level. So where do we have to update? So for that, we will use the condition where user underscore id is equal to message dot author dot id. So in this line, we select all the 3 columns from the table, and we add a condition where the user ID is equal to the message dot author ID. So if I send the message, then it selects the column where the user ID is same as my ID. So now in return we get three columns. This is column 0, column 1 and column 2. So this will be saved as a result index 0, result index 1 and result index 2. So now here, if the experience is equal to 99, then we have to increment the level. So we send a message, we mention the user and we tell that they advanced from so and so level. So we can select the level from our result indexed to 0, 1, 2. The same thing goes in the next line of code, that is to update the table. So here we update, we select the table name here, guild underscore the guild ID. Then we have to update the experience column. So I use set experience equal to 0. Then we have to increment the level. So level equal to the previous level plus 1. And we also mention the condition. So we mention the user ID. So where user underscore ID is the author ID. Else cursor dot execute. So we can use the same thing here. We can use this, Control C, and we have to increment the experience. So let's do result 1 plus 1. We don't need this here since we're only incrementing the experience. And the other thing is we have to commit it. So connection dot commit, same here, connection dot commit. So now let's add the except block. So except SQLite 3 dot operation error, and let's just pass this. And whenever you use on message event, make sure you add this line at the end so that the client stops listening to the messages once it processes this. So message. Now let's run the bot again. So python color.py. Now currently the experience is 0 and the level is 0. Now if you go to Discord, just send some message and let's update it. So yeah, and press F5 to update or refresh, or else you can use this button here. So now my experience is 2. Send another message, refresh, experience is 3. Now imagine my experience is 99. Sorry, I have to change it here. 99, and click on write changes. Now if I send a message with the advanced to level 1, here if I refresh this, experience is 0 and level is 1. Now let's create a command to display our XP. So for that, I'll need 3 parameters. One being the context CDX, the other is the user. No, I'll use 2 parameters, the context and the user. So let's do client dot command I'll name my command as xp. So cdx and the user. So user is of type discord dot user and the default value is none. Next, we'll add a try except block. So if user is none, then we do cursor dot execute. We have to select the user. So select star. Star means all the columns from guild. So to get guild ID from context. So cdx guild.id. So let's add a where condition. Where user id is equal to we can get user id from our context. So cdx dot author dot id. So now from this let's save the result in our variable called result cursor dot fetch one. Now let's send this to the server. So ctx channel dot send. Let's mention the author. The exp is result 1. Again we get 3 columns. User id is index 0, 1 and 2. So I have to display the experience. So I'll do result of index 1 and next is the level. So level, this is result index 2. Else if the user is not mentioned, if the user is mentioned, then we have to execute the same line of code. So I can copy this, Control V. Here let's change the author ID to the user ID. Next, let's check if let me save the result first. So result equal to cursor dot fetch one. Now let's check if the result is not null, because sometimes if the member is not in the server, then you get result as none. So result not none, then we send the data. So we can use this. So instead of author.mention, we'll do user.mention and if the result is none, so that is else, we send the member does not exist. So let's do await x the channel dot send no such user in the database. So we have the try block. Next, let's add the except SQLite dot operation error, and we will print await dot channel dot send database not initialized. Initialized. Now let's stop the bot and run it again. Now if it's send.xp, so experience 1 and level 1. Experience 1 and level 1. So if I send XP again, my experience should increase. So XP2 level 1. That's it guys for this video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and to follow my videos, hit the subscribe button. I will leave all the codes to this project on my GitHub, so you can download the codes from GitHub. So we have a Discord server where we help our viewers out with code errors, and we also conduct periodic code challenges where we give away Discord Nitro to the winners. Thank you for watching.